Hello all, welcome back to Words and Pictures and another edition of Books, Books, Books. I've got a very large art journal on the table today. It is 10 inches square. By the look of things, that translates to just over 25 centimetres square here. I haven't done many pages in this journal, so again, some of them are going to take us a way back. Not a long way back this time, maybe about 4 or 5 years, I think, is the furthest we go back. I haven't done many in here, partly because some of the ones that are in here are really quite special to me. They were a new experiment, again, me experimenting inside an art journal, and it took me a while to kind of go, okay, if I'm not going to do those, maybe I don't want to do anything else in these. But then eventually I decided I could do slightly different pages. You'll see what I mean when I open it, because it's quite different from other things you've seen before. So this is acrylic paint over texture paste and gesso, and I sort of want to let it speak for itself in some ways and let you take what you take from it. I was experimenting with light and earth and sort of an abstract landscape, and I was just trying to let things do what they wanted to do. I'm going to bring it up here so you can have a closer look at some of that texture. And then turn the page, and you'll see there's a series of these, some more successful than others, some I like better than others. Rather than landscape, I think we're moving really to a seascape for this one. So again, I'm just going to let you have a little look to start with. And then bring it a little closer so you can see some of the ways I've been playing with the paint and the textures. And again, it's about light, but this time light on water, with just a little land creeping in. Let's turn another page. So this one uses one of my favourite acrylic paint colours. Smalt hue is definitely involved in here. Rusty blues and browns. Blue and brown is the colour that I really started with. If you visit my blog, which goes back to 2012, so that was the earliest place I shared anything I was doing, blue and brown together were my opening colour gambit, and for quite a long time that was everything I did. Blues and browns together, browns and neutrals, then blues and greens started creeping in more and more, the purpley tones. So blue and brown here, you can see if I bring it closer, there's some really exciting texture caused by a book page that's somewhere deep in the layers there. I think I'm probably applying quite a lot of this paint, both the upright and the other marks are applied with a card, probably just a credit card, an old credit card or library card. Again, that's somewhere between earth and water. I don't really want to specify what it is. It is what it is. Let's turn another page. And yeah, okay. This one does make me happy, so I'm going to let you have another little look and let it do what it needs to do for you. And again, there's an exploration of light here, but also some trees on the horizon, just suggested, not, but then also the digging down into the roots, into the earth, into the bare earth of winter, and texture even up in the sky. So I think there's another. Yeah, and we're back definitely to another seascape. This one's quite highly textured. It's a pity we can't do touch of vision for you to feel what this one's like as well as see it. But I'm going to let it give you some feelings anyway, hopefully. And then bring it a little closer to see if you can see some of that texture that's going on in the layers of acrylic paint and gesso and distant purple shores, purple hills, shades of purple also in the sea, and still playing with that sense of light shimmering over everything. And then, as you can see, I embarked on something a little different. Still determined to keep exploring the acrylics and textures and layers. This, as far as I recall, was cut out of a magazine, and then I sort of painted over it and then rewrote the words myself. So originally it was, I think, maybe a Neal's Yard catalogue. Neal's Yard make beautiful organic lotions and potions, classic glass bottles, blue glass bottles. If you're not familiar with Neal's Yard, it's worth taking a look. They produce beautiful organic bath, hair, face products. Layers and layers and layers in here. There are words in the background somewhere. And yeah, these are this is me experimenting with umbels. Anybody who's seen my recent stamp releases will know that I do enjoy an umbella for flower. These beautiful ones that are the family cow parsley or carrot family that have little clusters of flower heads. And yeah, again, it's a pity you can't feel the texture of those and the depth of the darks. I think this is one of the times when I was really encouraging myself to really go for contrast and make sure I had proper darks, because I do tend to inhabit the lighter end of the spectrum, probably because there's a dark undertow that I'm not always willing to let come out, but I can see with this that the darks can really be valuable to make the lights really shine. Let's see what else we've got. Ooh, that's another texture game. That's there's certainly quinacridone gold in there, creating some of that rust. Various fluid acrylics, I would guess. Phthalo turquoise maybe is in here, some Prussian blue. I would say I've probably done some inking over the crackle. I don't know if you can see the crackle paste layers in there. There's tissue paper maybe in the background, gessoed over just to create something. And again, I'm pretty sure these words came from that same Neal's Yard catalogue. This time I've left them unaltered because that just did seem pretty wild and organic to me. I might just pop it down and let that just seep into you a little bit. Rusty tones and the blues exploding from some origin position deep in the background. That's quite impactful. This is nice to revisit. This is interesting. This is getting my fingers twitching to maybe have a play along these lines. More umbels. Could you have guessed? Oh, and the texture of this page tells me that this was watercolour ground I've used on this. Really, really textural, beautifully scratchy umbellifers, and I would say some sort of lavender type things in the background there. Sun's coming out again, so the colour keeps changing, I'm afraid. We're all going for a walk in the meadow, it says here in my handwriting. That's another thing that feels really weird, is that the nakedness of one's own handwriting is a very strange thing to me. How vulnerable that feels. Very odd. Yeah, and again, texture on those umbels, that's a thick paint that's gone on there, heavy body acrylic, I would say, over those textures. But again, I quite like the depth that that's got. Ooh, look who's here. It's the Perspective Moth. We've seen him in a few minutes of fun videos a couple of times. For once, I haven't cut him in half. Quite often when I work with him on tags, he has to be cut in half in order to fit on the tags, but also because I like that balancing act, as you know, of composition. There's some really rugged crackle going on here. I would think that might be the golden crackle paste, because it tends to give you quite a chunky effect. Layers of paper in the background, crackle running through, and yeah, some Tim Holtz ephemera and I would say design papers in there, just cut and panelled. All neutrals, as you see. Neutrals, another of my favourite places to land up and play. And again, if I let you take a little look at the overall effect of that. Close up, there's lots going on, but as you pull back, you get an overall much gentler effect. And that's something I really enjoy, is there's layers and complexity and depth and gnarly stuff going on underneath that crackle, that decay, that texture. But somehow, if you can get some distance, some objective distance, you can achieve a sense of more calm rather than being down in the embedded in the morass. Is that it for that book? So you can see I've got lots left available in here. I think this is another of the, yes, look, Paper Chase, another of the Paper Chase albums. Paper Chase, the stationery store I've mentioned on occasion, from the UK, sadly now no longer with us. But yeah, I've got quite a few journals on the go that are still Paper Chase journals, and yeah, they are, as you can see, it's good sturdy card in this one to take all those layers of paint and texture and yeah, me having a play. So I hope you've enjoyed that little dive into a larger format art journal. I hope you've enjoyed spending some time with those paintings. They've certainly made me want to explore again in this journal with paint and texture and a sense of what comes, and I don't need to think too hard about it. Thanks so much for watching. Do leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Leave any comments or questions down below. I love hearing from you and sharing your company on this creative journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more books. Happy crafting all.